Hello, class, and Dr. Sharon. I'm here today to present my presentation on veterans helping veterans in franchising, and does it really matter? As we proceed, you'll see that veterans in franchising, that the data is sometimes unclear, it's scattered and fragmented, and so we do the best we can. What I come here to talk to you about today is part of the challenge as a consultant is I want to offer a complete offering to the audience, to my candidates, disease, and that niche market will be veterans. Veterans looking for franchise opportunities, they usually find fragmented information. I want to provide a solution, and this research should provide a solution once it's completed, of how many and who the veteran-owned franchise systems are, and also how many of the veteran-owned locations are successful and would do it again. That's going to require interviewing veterans who are in franchising. And I also want to find who the veteran franchise resources are. In franchising, as consultants, we guide our franchisees, our candidates, to attorneys who are franchise attorneys, CPAs who are franchise CPAs, and lenders who are well versed in franchising. There's a broader segment of lenders who are well versed in franchising than they are any of the other two. And finally, I want to talk about, does it matter? Frankly, I may find out at the end of this research that veterans helping veterans, those veterans aren't any more successful or any less successful. And that's what I want to find out, because when I provide an offering to a veteran who's interested in franchising, I want to be giving them accurate information that, hey, you're more likely to succeed in a veteran-owned franchise system and working with veteran resources, such as myself. So my theory is that there are many more veteran-owned franchises than anyone knows about, and the veterans are more successful than the average person in those franchises. And my hypothesis is, does it matter? Is that it does matter to veterans and their success, that they are supported and guided by the veterans. Combining the two thoughts, if you present veterans, with all the opportunities that they have and all the resources that are available to them, they will more than likely choose a veteran-owned system, and therefore will be more successful. My initial findings is, I want to set a basis for this as a comparison, is that there are over 31.7 million small businesses in the United States. Veterans own about 5.7% of those. This is data as of 2021, or about 1,806,000. Of all small businesses, again, veterans own about 1,806,000, about 5.6. And of the 22.2 million plus small businesses in 2012, veterans owned about 10.2%. So of all small businesses, you can see from the data that the percentage of owned small businesses that are owned by veterans is less now by half than it was 10 years ago. Something interesting in the findings, however, is that of the 775,000 franchise locations, about 66,000 are owned by veterans. And that is about 8.5%. In 2012, that number was 15,750 of 750,000, which is about 2.1%. Sorry for the delay there. I had to read my notes. Yeah, so 2.1% of franchise locations were owned by veterans in 2012. As of 2022, 8.5% are owned by veterans. So that tells you, it's an indicator to me that veterans are being more successful in a franchise business than they are in just business alone. And you have to ask yourself why, and we'll get to that later. Veteran-owned businesses, though, the importance of this and the significance is veteran-owned businesses contribute $1.2 trillion to the U.S. economy. And that encompasses non-employer veterans as well as employer veterans. The employer veterans, the non-employer veterans were 70.2 billion. That means the single individual who may own a gutter cleaning company or a company installing blinds, that person by themselves, those contributed to 70.2 billion of that 1.2 trillion. So veterans and businesses, significant contribution to the U.S. economy. Signs of success. According to VetFran, 99% of franchisors think veterans are great at business. And you'll see that a full 70% of those franchises have veterans that own locations. And then at 98% of those veterans are successful. That's the closest I've been able to come to real numbers as to what numbers of veterans are successful. Now, that doesn't describe what success looks like, because to each franchise, success looks a little different. Now, granted, of course, the bottom line is where that's at, and are they making money? That's what's important. However, there are some other values that are other metrics that are used to measure what success looks like, depending on the system. Yeah, my initial findings is that franchise success fits veterans well, and it's based on a number of factors. Based on the fact that a franchise in general is a system that is regimented. It's been proven. They've got operations manual. They got standard operation procedures, and that fits veterans very well because they're used to following rule sets, but also used to having to take the lead in times when maybe the rules don't apply exactly, or maybe you've got to adapt and overcome, which is a Army saying. We adapt and overcome if something doesn't fit. But again, they're more successful because they're stepping into a proven system. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. They don't have to risk losing everything on trying to build a system on their own. They can step into a system, again, that's proven. There are over 650 franchises that offer incentives to veterans and discounts, and those are the ones that I want to identify as well. Not all those are veteran owned. I'm not saying that by any means, but I'm sure some of them are, and that will be interesting to find out and match them up with my candidates. On findings and conclusions, this information is inconclusive right now. I'm surprised at how 7 weeks flies by. It's not that I didn't do the work. It's that it's very hard to gather this data when it's so scattered. Dr. Sharon was graceful in providing me with some articles that gave me some links to more information and gave me their resources. Didn't give me their resources, but I was able to check their references and therefore find some more references that help. But this data is, again, scattered. As an example, the U.S. Census Bureau, Small Business Administration's Office for Advocacy, their first page of their website says, browse a list of existing opportunities for franchises for veterans. That's supposedly within their website. It's not there. That's the kind of thing I want to address. I want to talk to them and go, hey, where's this link? Where's it at? And these findings that I have presented are, incomplete and hardly scientific. I acknowledge that, but the evidence does point to there's more franchise systems available to veterans than meets the eye initially, and that the veterans are very successful when given the opportunity. The last thing that I didn't find, a piece that I wanted to find before concluding this research, was who are the veteran attorneys, who are the veteran CPAs, and who are the veteran lending officers, so that I can put together a full resource list for my candidates as I approach them. I plan to launch after the first year. I'll be buying leads from a leading lead organization, and there'll be veteran only leads. So I look forward to sharing more as I gather more evidence.